is on education. Number 2, on youth. Number 3, on there are areas of advantage, priorities to me. That is farming. That is crop farming and dairy farming. When it comes to education, I've said I've been with the electorates and I know their challenge. The first challenge is education. And the income and the expenses in terms of education is no longer comparable. So I'm going to create affordable education for the electorates. And the affordable education for electorates that I mean is that to empower day school. And I want to thank the earlier leaders because we have the infrastructure, we have day schools. What we are missing are the marks. So I want to go into every day school and make sure they produce quality grades so that we will have the options of our day schools, whereby parents can get quality education with very minimal grades. And in addition to that, we are going to give bursaries, full bursaries, for students who are going to attain marks of that quality that will join university. And that is 280 and above joining day school. On the issue of youth, and even I've started by doing something known as data capture. The earlier leaders, they have been telling us the youths are many, the youths have no jobs, and they don't have data to show that how many youths do we have. I've already have a database capture known as Kiptonge Foundation, and to my surprise, I got a student or somebody in the Elgeyo who is doing sports.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Bwana Kiptonge. So to you, Ngetuny, in 2 minutes, what are the top 3 development concerns in this constituency and how are you planning to address them?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. One of the major issues that I intend to tackle as a challenge for Eldama Ravine is unemployment for the young people. The other one is education. And the last but not least, is water provision. On youth unemployment, I have a youth empowerment program, which I named it Eldama Ravine Offtake Program, that has a multi-pronged approach towards solving this issue. One is by empowering the young people within the border sector, which is now the major employer of our young people. Another one is setting up a textile industry in Eldama Ravine that will seek to produce all the school uniforms worn by our children in school. Another one under the youth and employment is that program of mine that seeks to create opportunity for 50 young people every year to travel abroad and go earn an income through other activities that they will do there. Another one is water provision. I intend in the next 5 years to make sure that we amend the Water Act in Parliament to give county government more control of water so we are able to control the Chemusu's water. Another one on education, I intend to upgrade 1 primary school per ward into a center of excellence where children from parents with lower income can have a good school where the kids can excel. Thank you.
Well, I think you've saved some time, and if you feel you're satisfied, we can move to another person. All right. To you, Mutai. 3 areas of concern in this constituency in terms of development.
Thank you so much.
How you're planning to address them.
Thank you so much. My 3 top priorities for this constituency, I will start with the one for the education. We have many day schools, and the only challenge that we have is the quality of results which is being produced. Because at the moment, I want to tell you that the number of below E's, the students which attain a grade of E, is more than 600 every year. That number is very alarming. And if we are to deal with unemployment and other things, we need to sort out that issue. And the way you sort it out is we make sure that these schools are staffed, we make sure that they are given the necessary financing aspect so that we have the necessary facilities to enable these students to attain their marks and their good marks. The other aspect on education is we need a conveyor belt to really underscore the education aspect from the primary level up to the tertiary, so that we have a structured way of handling the students. The other thing is unemployment, which is very rampant, not only in this constituency, it is all over the country. We need to think outside the box, and for my strategy is that we need to understand the international other opportunities that can be accessed through international linkages and all that. I will do an office, a liaison office in Ravine and in Nairobi, so that we see how we can make sure that our students are even given opportunities outside this country, from Australia and other countries, so that we really handle that. Lastly is the aspect of target infrastructure. I will lobby with the government agencies so that we really access those infrastructure development that is being given by the national government.
All right, thank you. That was well taken. Now, our second agenda is on agriculture. And I'll give you a few facts and figures about agriculture in Eldama Ravine. That is based on data that we got from the Department of Agriculture in the Eldama Ravine sub-county, Koibatek sub-county that is. Maize farming is one of the leading crops that is grown in Eldama Ravine, and to the acreage of about 12,000, not acres but hectares, 12,000 hectares, followed by potatoes, and followed by beans. I don't know if you knew about that. And within that as well, there's a serious decline in the production per acre for beans, sorry, not beans, but maize. There's a serious decline. And for potatoes, the hectares is about 3,100 per year. It is planted in 2 seasons. That is data according to the Ministry of Agriculture in this sub-county. And now my question would go. Before I go to the question, the livestock as well. Dairy farming is leading in Eldama Ravine. And a few years back, maybe Chepso, you can give me the data. Sabatia Cooperative Society.
Yes, in 1970, actually the early 70s.
Yeah.
Eldama Ravine used to lead in, especially the Sabatia Farmers Cooperative Society.
Yeah.
1978 to 1982. Mm-hmm. The minister, James Sangaine, was the minister for cooperative, used to bring farmers from places around the country to come and benchmark
within the constituency.
In Eldama Ravine Constituency, 1979, because it was the best producer of milk and management of the cooperatives.
Well, and according to the data, the milk production in Eldama Ravine is on a serious incline, or rather, it is increasing. The production of milk is increasing. Yeah. And according to the data that we have right now, as of 2015, we were talking about 1.2 million liters per year. And right now we are talking of 1.6 million per year. So you've seen the maize is going down, the milk is rising. The beans as well is going down because of the production, and majorly there are a number of factors that are affecting this, and that is where our question is. With those facts in place, what are your plans on this sector if elected MP, and that for the case of the maize produce per acre is on a decline, and the dairy farming, or rather the dairy milk production, is on the rise? And with that, you can get to give us that. And maybe this time round, we can start with on our right, Mr. Mutai. You can give us how you're planning to improve this sector, and we've given you those facts.
Yes,
so
and of course, if there are any other elements of agriculture that will boost the constituency in that order.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You have put it very clearly. Some of us went to school through the cooperative. I want to say that we used to have some good money from Sabatia. And I want to agree with you that Sabatia was a very good cooperative society. Mm-hmm. One is we need to address the aspect of management, and being oversight as one of the mandates of the Member of Parliament, we need to check on the management of these cooperatives, because I want to believe management is a key. 2 is on the issue of the maize. I want to believe that when government does subsidies, you remember, a bag of a fertilizer now is going at 7,000. Really, the cost of production is very high. until the farmers are shying away because you don't have that much. They survive. So it means the proper mechanism of really ingredients that is being put into this maize is not up to standard, since because of the cost of production. The other aspect is the one for the dairy farming, that since the land now, the land mass, unlike other years, the land is being reduced now. We used to have a massive land, acreage of land that we used to use for this dairy farming, but now it is being reduced. So what we need to do is really to increase a scientific way of managing this dairy farming, so that the output is really improved, considering the land mass and all that. So from that, we need our farmers to be trained, we need capacity building on them, and we increase a lot of collaboration with other agencies so that they assist these farmers in terms of productivity and management of these cooperatives.
Well, your time is up, and I think, and to the point.
Yeah, maybe comment before you go there. Mutai, how much would you want to see the price of liter of milk in Eldama Ravine Constituency?
We have a challenge because the market for the dairy farming is being controlled by monopolies, and that's why it's very difficult to really predict the pricing. What we need to do is to fix our policy so that we control this monopoly aspect of two companies running the whole industry. So if we saw that at the policy level, at the national level, we'll be able to have a very good markets so that we fetch some good prices for our farmers.
Thank you.
All right. So to you, Ngetuny, we had given the statistics, so you can just pick that up from where we left.
Thank you so much. The decline of maize production over years can be attributed to two specific factors. One is the diminishing land resource, because we no longer have huge tracts of land. If you go back to the history of Eldama Ravine, the first land adjudication allocated an average of about 27 acres to a family. And, over time, we have subdivided that land. We now, a person like myself, if I were to inherit a piece of land from my husband, I would get something like an acre. So that cannot be put under maize production. Another factor is about the expensive farm inputs, and another one is climate change, the unpredictable rain patterns. So we can't do much about that. I think what we need to do is diversification. We need to move away owing to those factors that are really tricky to go about it. So diversification is key. We need to move into other agricultural practices that we can generate much from the little land resource that we have. When you come to maize, to dairy farming I think is an opportunity where we need to diversify more, and we can produce more by ensuring that we have uptake of agri-based technology around dairy farming. And I think under my leadership, I'll partner with county governments, because agriculture, as you know, is a devolved function. I mean, largely devolved function. And I think that we can be able to achieve under my program of setting up Eldama Ravine Leadership Forum that intends to bring together all elected and nominated leaders from Eldama Ravine, from the governor, senator, and all of us, so that some of these issues that are cross-cutting can be discussed at that platform. We need to diversify, like I said, into other crops like avocado, and I'm glad that many people are receiving that well. We need to go back to coffee. We need to go back to macadamia. Diversification is key, and we now need to adapt climate-smart agriculture, which I think I'll get an opportunity to expound more on it.
Thank you. Time up.
Same question. How much will farmers sell their milk if you are a member of parliament?
That has everything to do with value addition.
The price?
Value addition. If we don't have a factory that can package our milk, we will just be, we cannot complain of monopoly. This is a free economy. What we need to do is to prepare our people to fight with these monopolies. Correct.
All right.
Well, with the existing Ngetuny, there's an existing, or rather there's an upcoming factory, processing plant, which has been built or developed by some of the farmers through their cooperatives. And I believe you're aware of that. What strategies are you coming with to ensure that value addition is improved, and what are the challenges that they would be facing at the moment?
I belong to a party that believes in bottom-up. And what we should be able to do, we should start from the bottom. We need to increase production of the milk so that as we set up these value addition institutions, then we have enough milk that can be taken off by these factories. So we need to start from the bottom, increase the production of that farmer from 2 liters to 10 liters, and we have an array of things that need to be done in between before now we eat the critical liters of milk that then we can take it to the so it has to come back to the bottom. How much liters of milk can be given by a cow and by a farmer? So we need to go back to the bottom.
All right. Thank you. So to you, Kiptonge.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm happy you are bringing this item as question number 2. And as earlier said, I've said I'm the one who knows actually the lecturers, and they know me. And I want to put it this way. Agriculture is one of the challenges that we are facing. And that's why in your question number 1, question 1, 2, 3, I'm placing it number 3. And in agriculture, I'm a victim. Earlier, I had been harvesting over 1,000 bags per year. But now, even if you plow 1 acre, you cannot get 1 bag in my area, the lower side. Reason, it is the issue of climate change. So the factor for us to increase maize is for those areas which are still favorable with the maize production. That is when we are going to put a lot of input there by reducing the cost of input to motivate the farmers to do more production. And then for our areas like Cherai, whereby you cannot realize maize, we have to adopt smart agriculture, whereby we have to move to other crops which are favorable there. For the case of dairy farming, the problem is the commercial feeds. The production of milk production of milk now, it is almost 25 shillings per liter, and we are selling milk at 30. So you see the farmer is getting only 5 shillings. So we need to go away from the commercial feeds to forage feeds, whereby we have to encourage our farmers to grow maize or to grow crops that will subsidize, will bring balanced diet to the animals. And that is the only way we have to improve milk production, by reducing the cost, by growing our own crops, and then improve the cost.
Somebody said in some forum that what farmers are doing in Baringo is to struggle to keep the cow alive. Is that a representation of facts?
It is true. Because for now, the production from the milk will eventually be consumed by the same cow.
Fair enough.
If you want to feed the cow properly.
Thank you.
And there is this question you have been asking, how much would you want the cost of milk to be? These guys are running away from it because they are not practically on the ground. They don't have those milk.
How much?
I want to tell you, for real, the cost of milk should not come below 60 shillings per liter.
Fair enough.
Basing on the cost of the feed.
Of the production.
Correct?
Thank you.
So the cost should not be less than 60 shillings per liter.
Thank you.
Well,
to the Mugulema.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. We move on to Carol Talam.
Thank you. Me too, I've been practicing farming until the year 2009, when I completely stopped doing maize, planting maize, because I saw the input plus whatever I was getting was just too little. So I decided to diversify. And so this is what I want also, when I come to this position, I will encourage farmers to diversify and do other farming. I diversified to avocado, which I've seen the yields. And at the same time, when you do such crops, you can still intercrop and plant your other things like beans and the others. So I would encourage farmers to diversify and plant other things like avocado, macadamia, coffee, and the rest. I will also advocate on, together with the county government, that we set up or we upgrade the current FTC that we have, so that our farmers can get training on how to practice modern farming, so that whatever they do it with literacy of expenditure and output. So I will also liaise with the existing SACCOs to support the farmers by giving them loans that they can be able to increase their production and at a subsidized interest. So, and another thing, I know the challenge that we've been getting more is because as the population has increased in Eldama Ravine, so the size of the land has also become small. So even planting maize is a problem.
Well,
so I will also encourage them
your
to
time is up, unfortunately.
to do horticulture.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
How much per litre? The same question. How much per litre would you want to say?
I will go with what Kiptonge has said, not less than 60. But now this will be determined by the expenditure, the input that the farmers used.
and
Yes.
and a follow-up question on the same.
Yes.
Everyone has spoken about the feeds.
Yes.
What do you think should be the solution to the animal feeds so that we can improve the milk production among the farmers?
As I said, the farmers should be taken for training so that they can be able to be trained on even how to manufacture their own foods, which will reduce the expenditure.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. We wish to acknowledge those people who are watching us. We have over 500 people who are watching us online. So as you give your views and answers to these questions, you must be aware that quite a number of people are watching this show, and that is just the online audience. I'm not sure about the TV audience.
Yeah, of course, we're live on CAST TV
Yeah.
and on our social platform on Facebook.
Yeah.
And of course, you can catch up with us. We're still live at Eldama Ravine, live from Tidy's Hotel, with our panelists who are contesting for the members of parliament seat. And of course, we go to the third part, which is education. And I will start with you, Kiptonge. You highlighted the issue of education earlier. And I know you're a teacher by profession, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you indicated earlier. We've released the KCP examinations yesterday. And you know, you must have gone through the results and the same. As a member of parliament, there's a kitty for CDF kitty, which will majorly go to infrastructural part of the primary school and the secondary school. But usually, of course, Eldama Ravine has one of the national schools here, Baringo Boys High School.
Baringo Boys.
Yeah, and the question is, as much as we want to develop this infrastructure in these schools, what are the performance? Do you have the data? Do you know these schools? How have they performed previously, and how would you want to see them in the future? What's your plan?
Yes, the results which were released yesterday, I've not had an opportunity to go through because I've been out busy doing campaign.
Okay.
And basically, maybe for the previous years, Koipatek has been doing well in Baringo County, and it has been rated #1. And that is not the issue so much.
Is that a fact?
Yes, it's the #1 in Baringo County. I want to say, for my candidature, I want to provide affordable education, which is a key problem to most of the parents. Most of the parents of this age are those who dropped earlier, and they are now parents. They don't have any income. So how will they educate their children? I'm going to provide a solution. By doing what? Make all the day schools in Eldama Ravine Constituency of quality grades. And I have the skills and the knowledge to do that. That one, I'll do it, to make sure all the day schools get quality grades. And by doing so, we want also to take care of students who are acquiring marks of that of university. And my case is 280 marks. For a student attaining 280 marks and join day school, we are going to offer full bursary. Why are we doing that? We want to raise the number of students who are joining university from the humble families and increase the number of students who are joining university. And the other students who are not going to attain 280 and below, we will give them fair deal in bursary, And then also those who are going to other schools, not within the day school, we will also give them a portion of their bursary. And we'll make sure all these children join university. Thank you so much.
Fair enough. Ngetuny, what is your plan? Do you have the data of these schools, and what's your capacity? What's your plan?
Not exactly,
Yes.
but what I understand is that we have had a decline in the quality of grades emanating from our schools, and that is attributed to many factors. Our Eldama Ravine schools, are not doing well because one, we don't have enough teachers in our schools, and that can be attributed to something happening that I intend to fight as a member of parliament. In our neighboring constituency, Mogotio, teachers get hardship allowances. But Mogotio was once Eldama Ravine. So when you come to a school like in Esageri, which is not in Mogotio, they don't get hardship allowance. So what we get is drain, what we call brain drain. Many teachers prefer to teach in the lower side than in Eldama Ravine. So I need to address that, but ensuring that Eldama Ravine, because of that problem, the teachers also get hardship allowance so that we don't lose a lot of our teachers to that lower side. Another thing that we need to be mindful about is that the infrastructure of our schools. We are aided into the CBC era. So we need to have infrastructure in our schools that are CBC compliant. We need to look into the future, and that is why I talk about the next generation, not next election. My competitors here will talk about the schools with the mindset of the curriculum that is now, that is now being undertaken, but not mindful of the CBC. So we need to invest in infrastructure that is CBC compliant, because that is where we are headed. I talked about improving our schools, upgrading one primary school per ward into a center of excellence, because there's something that is happening here. The well-to-do parents in the society, they take their kids to these academies, leaving the poor parents to struggle with the public schools, which number to about 96 primary schools, so that have been left at the mercies of parents without, ways of managing it. So we need to bring back the era of glory in our primary schools, and that is by investing more. When you go to secondary school, for instance, I think there's something that the current leadership started, that is by ensuring that we have one day school per secondary school, that is boarding that we have, as a way. But I think I had some minutes that, so I can utilize those, right? So what we need to do is to ensure that we complete that phase of ensuring that for every boarding secondary school, we have day secondary schools to lower the cost of education. We may not have enough bursaries to educate our children, and that is where we go back to empowering our parents by increasing production of what they are doing, so that they are able to pay school fees for their parents. Because as a member of parliament, I can only work with the CDF that I have, promising even that we will educate all children. Where do we get that money from? It comes from the same government. Thank you.
Well put. Mheshimiwa Karo, are you happy with the education in Eldama Ravine?
Not really. According to our performance, over years, we've been going down. And I think because of, it's because of the infrastructure, which we should, when I get opportunity to serve as the member of parliament, those are among the things that I want to come and do by improving the infrastructure. We increase the number of classes. We renovate the ones which are existing to be more favorable for the pupils. And again, for day schools, I would propose that I will add more day schools on top of the ones that are existing, which will be more accessible and affordable to the parents and also accessible to the students. So I think that is majorly what I'm going to look after. And again, I plan to also extend the existing schools by putting up or establishing special need classes so that they can cater for the vulnerable group, those who are disabled. So I also plan to do that so that we are not leaving them out. Yes.
Thank you very much. Mutai, you have the last shot on this question. You mentioned something about the allowances in Baringo County. I am aware, actually, there's a policy which has been passed and as a council, many parts of Baringo County from civil servants getting allowances. Are these
Hardship allowances.
hardship allowance? Are these the motivating factors to make our education better?
Thank you so much. I think we are talking about, as a member of parliament, you will be dealing with the primary level and the secondary level.
Yeah.
My take here is we have enough secondary schools. What we need to do is to work on what we have now. Before we add other more, we need to work on what we have. We need to invest on the existing so that we betterment for the betterment of the facilities, and with that we will definitely achieve the required quality results. The other thing is we need staffing, because I can tell you the kind of the teachers that we have is not sufficient for this for these schools. You find a school is being created and the head teacher of a primary school is leading the primary school, the secondary school. Really what we need to do is we reform the existing day schools before we add more, and because TSC will not invest their teachers in some schools where the catchment is around 40 students, and that's why you find at the national level, where schools have a population of around 1,000 students, they don't miss teachers, because TSC will only invest where there are many, the population is very high. So we need to work on what is there. The other thing is we need an inclusive management. We need our professionals to be part of this process so that we assist those schools in terms of the skills and all that, motivation and all that. The other thing is the aspect of bursary. We are sharing over 48 million in terms of bursary. And I want to tell you, it will assist in a way, because if we share this bursary in a very transparent manner, so that the needy ones really realize or access to this fund, by doing so, we really lessen the burden of payment, and also we make these students to be in school most of the time, and by doing so we will access this quality education, and we will improve our grades.
All right, your time is up, and maybe to you, Chepsoi,
Yes.
I can give you a few facts and figures that we managed to obtain at the Ministry of Education, and generally there's been an improvement in performance within schools in Eldama Ravine. Like for the KCPE results in 2018, there was a mean score of 261. 2019 it went down, there's been a decline, not an improvement, sorry. So 261 in 2018, 259 in 2019, and 256.95 in 2020. So
Clearly it's coming down.
it is coming down, and the strategies that you've given, we believe they would also be tallying with the challenges that the ministry is giving. We can see understaffing as an issue within the secondary and primary schools, so we acknowledge that fact. Inadequate and inappropriate physical infrastructure in a number of schools, especially the primary schools. So that should be something, quite something, And lack of power in some primary schools. There are no boarding school children in some of the schools, and frequent absenteeism among the teachers. And that is a very serious concern coming from the government itself, complaining about some of its workers not showing up within the school. And finally, but not least, lack of piped water in many primary schools. We are making you aware of this because we felt maybe there are some of the issues that you may not have touched within those 2 minutes that you had been given. And maybe for those who are viewing, you have an opportunity to give your question through WhatsApp 0799-030-030. That is for Baringo News. And also the comment section. We are seeing quite a number of comments coming down. So should you wish to ask a question, we'll have an opportunity to read out a question from the members of the public who are watching. And we'll pick it from any of the platforms, be it CAS TV.
Yeah, and of course on our social media, Facebook and CAS TV and CAS Radio.
Exactly. So drop your questions there.
Before we go to the next question is Mutai and our panelist. A quick one. There's a last mile for the connectivity of electricity to primary school and secondary school. A straight answer, yes or no. Are there primary schools which they don't have power up to now?
Yes, there are some.
You are aware of them?
Yes.
Ngatun? Yeah. Kiptonge, is your mic okay?
Yes.
We'll go back to
Yeah.
Yes. How many do you know?
I don't know the figure.
Yes.
But I know one of like Naitil. They don't have power. Okay, we have.
What are the reasons? Why there is no electricity in Laikipia? And I know it's accessible.
But they were given alternative source of power.
Okay.
And those are the solar panels.
Okay.
So maybe moving forward, they have to be connected.
Moving forward.
Yes.
Carol.
Yes, I know of one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is it that there is no power there?
I can't answer that.
Do you have a solution for that?
Yes.
You do?
When I come to power, yes.
Oh yes, we have a dozen, and I think these has everything to do with the pace at which we increase our schools is not matching with the rural electrification program. So I think what we need to do is to ensure that we match the pace at which we build the new boarding schools or the new day schools with now the electrification program by government, and these can be achieved by adapting to alternative energy sources. We don't have to rely really so much on the traditional hydro.
Yes, come on.
Well, there's an interesting...
I don't know if I can ask a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Because from one of the colleagues here on education, we have heard somebody saying we are going to make one school center of excellence.
Excellence, yeah.
You heard that?
Yes, we heard that from Getuny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Considering, let me bring an example of a zone, like lower, or not a zone, but a ward. There is a ward with over 20 primary schools. How will you identify that one from the 20?
And that is a question coming from a CSO.
Number two, that one, to my opinion, it will be increasing the cost to the parents. Because for you to move children from point A to that school of excellence, it will require transport or boarding, which will be kicked back to the parents. But what I was doing myself as a CSO, I made sure all the schools in the zone attain quality marks. And by doing so, every parent will be able, or every child will be able to attain quality grades from the proximity of his home. And that is the way to go to me.
Okay.
Empower all the primary schools, day primary school, to produce quality marks. Thank you.
That's a question from the curriculum support officer. Bwana Getuny, what do you have to say?
Your formula might not work from the experience of Mr. Kiptonge.
Oh yes, that's a good question. I think Mr. Kiptonge should have understood the meaning of a center of excellence. This is where exchange programs happen, because you have to start from somewhere. If you want to improve the quality of education in Eldama Ravine, you have to start from somewhere. One center of excellence per ward, so that the others can learn from. Center of excellence is where people can borrow ideas, exchange ideas.
Fair.
He's talking about resources to be able to achieve that. He's forgetting the cardinal responsibility of member of parliament, and that is for lobbying for more resources. If we had such an idea, we couldn't be having Alliance High School. If we had such a mindset, we couldn't be having all these schools that are centers of excellence.
Fair enough.
We need to have,
Fair enough.
brains that can expand beyond the ordinary. Thank you.
Fair enough. That's still all efforts goes to the child of Eldama Ravine? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. You have some comments?
Not for now. Maybe you can continue with the next agenda.
Let's go to the infrastructure. Mheshimiwa Karo and of course Mheshimiwa Kiptonge, Getuny and Mutai. For the last 10 years, Eldama Ravine has never benefited from infrastructural part, especially the tarmac road in Baringo County. Other constituencies like Mogotio have benefited from for the tarmac, although still under construction. The Mogotio, Kitur, Sanana and Kamukunji Road. In Baringo South, there's Karandi and Marigat Road, and of course in Baringo Central, there's Riwo, Kasusit, and of course there's Serotonin, and of course downwards to Kambia Samaki in Baringo Central. You will say they will benefit. Of course, they have another road from Tenges through Cheplambus, Mogoruo, and Ainamoi. And of course, there's a tarmac road from Ainamoi to Barwesa for Baringo Central again, and Baringo North. And of course, in Tiati, there is a previous road done by the President Kenyatta predecessor, Mwai Kibaki, from Loruk, Chemalingot, Parapelo to Marich Pass. Eldama Ravine has barely gotten a foot of the tarmac. I will start with you, Mutai. What will you do differently? Because it's been 10 years since we didn't get a foot of a tarmac. What is the magic?
Thank you so much. We really need to understand why Eldama Ravine has not gotten. I'm not justifying the reason, but a place like Tiati, you can use a Maram road for 100 kilometers. Really, if it is a fair distribution of resources at the national level, we really need to appreciate that. But I'm not saying that we should not get our share as Eldama Ravine. What I'll do as a member of parliament is to liaison or to lobby through the relevant government agencies of the Kera and Kena so that really we get our share. We have some very productive areas of our constituency, like the Lembus ward, that is the area of Kiptuno, that is Boror Kiptuno Road. That really connects even to the other constituency. So we need to work on that. And I want to believe leaders have talked about much about that road, and nothing has done. So what I want to say is that going forward, we need to actualize that dream for Eldama Ravine. So for me, I'll make sure that we really work on that aspect of getting more infrastructure into our constituency. The other aspect is we need a lot of relationship. We build a lot of relationship with the national government so that when we go for these programs, we are part of it. And we need to have an overall view of the whole country, because I want to believe, I've been to that discussion of why even the Eldama Ravine is not getting the tarmac. There are some constituencies that you move over 50 kilometers for you to get a tarmac. For Eldama Ravine, the longest one is Kiptuno, Boror Kiptuno. It is around 27. And that might be some of the reasons why the other constituencies were catered unlike the Eldama Ravine. But I'm not saying we should advocate for that. We need to work on it. And we need to be fair to everyone. Thank you so much.
And your time is up. Maybe a follow-up question.
Yes, a follow-up question. There's this road here from the South. It's a stretch of around less than 15 kilometers?
12 kilometers, around 13. But what we need to do is really we need to upgrade that road. Even before we talk of others, we need to upgrade that road, because that's a road that has been repaired every year, year in, year out. So what we need to do is we really lobby for those agencies to make sure that we upgrade it to the standard of these other ones, so that we don't have to repair every year.
Fair enough.
And the transport aspect is being solved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please correct his mic, kindly. Is it on? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. On infrastructure, it is unfortunate. I mean, there's no excuse. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
I'm saying there's no excuse as to why Eldama Ravine misses out on the 12,000 kilometer new road network that have been established across the country. I'm surprised that I have somebody running for member of parliament, Eldama Ravine, who is creating an excuse as to why Eldama Ravine hasn't gotten an inch of a tarmac road. As a member of parliament, I will fight for tarmacking of at least 100 kilometers of our roads in Eldama Ravine. And other than that, we need to upgrade the roads that we have. You know, the road that we have from Junction all the way to the highway, that is a low-class road. So we need to upgrade it to enable it to carry more tonnage and therefore enable more businesses here. So other than that, we also, and I hear somebody saying we need to partner with national government. I think they don't understand what parliament does. That is where the resources of this country is allocated. I will fight for Eldama Ravine to get its fair share at the National Assembly, because that is where all the resources are allocated. I don't need to partner with anybody. To partner with who? These resources are shared at Parliament, where I'm asking the people of Eldama Ravine to send me so that I defend them some more. Thank you.
Do you have a specific road that you want to be tarmac about?
Yeah, we look at the productivity of an area, because we need, you know, these roads are not roads to nowhere. It is roads leading to markets from our farms. Like the road from Eldama Ravine here, from Poror all the way to Sirwa, connecting these two main roads, going to Eldoret and the other one of Saos, and the road from Sawich all the way to Timboroa. You talked about potato as I think the second largest agricultural produce here. how do they get into their markets? That is a major problem because we have that problem. And then another one is the Slater's Road.
Thank you. Passing
from Moringo all the way to Chemeswan, all the way to Sekutongo. Those are the key roads in Eldama Ravine.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Tonge?
Okay. I want to say for the issue of tarmac roads in Eldama Ravine, that one, I think it is not an excuse or a request that we are going to do. I think we are going to demand for it. And by doing so, from what we have been hearing, though I'm not sure, it is me to go and find out, if it is in case that it had been budgeted, the way the earlier MP was saying, it is only to go and make a follow-up and make sure that it is implemented. Because already we are told there are 2 tarmac roads, which already have gone through the budget stage. And that is the Moringo to Timbarwa Road, and there is another one from the Nakuru side all the way to Majimazuri. If at all those roads have been budgeted for, we have to make sure that it becomes a realistic. And what I want to urge the electorates, all the electorates, to make sure that we forward our party, UDA, so that we control the government. And if we control the government, it will be easy for us to lobby for this money.
Fair enough.
And I'm sure I have all the skills and all what it takes to lobby for those things that we need in the Eldama Ravine constituency.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Caro?
Over years, I think the tarmac roads have been one campaign tool that our leaders have been using. I remember in the last election, 2017, we were promised that the Poror, Sigoro, Kiptuno Road to Sirwa was going to be tarmacked, which unfortunately to date, nothing or no sign have been shown of that. So when I reach there, I will lobby with the government agencies, Kera, so that at least we get even 100 kilometers of tarmac road in our constituency, because that is one of the things that is making our development of our people go down. So when I go there, I will lobby with the necessary, with the relevant government agencies.
Do you have specific roads that you want to be done?
Me too have an interest with the Poror, Kiptuno to Sirwa, which connects the 2 constituencies, Mogoti and Ravine, because that is an area that when we get such road, we are going to really help farmers and our productivity will go up, which I think it will really improve the economy of our constituency.
The farmers say, SK?
Maybe a follow-up question.
I think I have a right of reply so that it is very clear. The one for the roads. So
we're coming to that.
I want to say that...
Just a moment, Bwana Mutai. Allow me to have a follow-up question. Then we'll give you an opportunity to reply to Bwana Ngetony. The Sirwa, Poror Sirwa, it is also connecting Baringo Central. This is a road that you're saying it has been politicized for quite a long time.
Yes, yes.
So what are your plans? How differently would you do? You're a politician, and you would be working with the same people who have been promising this road. How different would you do this?
When I reach there, of course, I also want to find out why this thing is not working over years. So when I reach there, I will do my efforts, I will lobby, and make sure at least we get some few kilometers, because I believe we all deserve that. If other constituencies are getting, why not us?
All right.
Yes.
And to Bwana Elijah Tanui, you didn't get an opportunity to give a specific road that you wish to sort out.
Okay. I think those are the specific roads are already the ones which are being budgeted, because we don't want to alter if they are there. And also the Kiptuno Sigoro Road, Poror, that one also of great priority. And the issue we are considering is productivity. How much will this road be done? And then this one also of South, it has to be upgraded. Reason, we have a lot of drugs, not the lorries, which are carrying blocks from Tolmo, and we don't want to change that route. it has to use the South main road,
Well,
and so that it has
All right.
to be upgraded to accommodate that load.
all right.
Yes.
And to you, Mutai, an opportunity to respond to.
Thank you so much. I need also to correct some of us so that, because I think we have even some people who have not been engaged in budget processing for a government. So it is also good to forgive them because there is a process. You do not want to tell me that when you reach there, the money is there. Some of us have done a budget for a county for up to 6 billion, and I want to believe there is a procedure to follow. And that's why I was saying it is lobbying. You don't have to think that we are given an excuse. We will lobby for that money, but using the procedures which are there. And I understand, and I want to believe it's good to excuse yourself when you have not been engaged or you have not been part of a process of a government budget. It's also good to understand that.
Maybe Mutai, one question.
Yes.
This process you're talking about, does
Yes.
it have to take around 10 years to be implemented?
I'm not saying that way. And I don't want to give excuses for those who have been part of us. I'm saying we need to lobby. We need to really to find out why we have not been given. But the process of a budget is the government is another story. Talking it and doing it is another story.
Fair enough.
Well, and Getun, you seem like you have something to say. 10 seconds, please.
I don't see where a process of a budget comes in lobbying. Our neighboring constituency here, Elgeyo South, you know, or what do we call Chepkot's constituency here, they have close to 400 kilometers of tarmac road, one constituency. What budget process did they have to go through for
That's
that to
fair
get
enough.
that?
Fair enough.
We just need to do
enough.
the lobbying, and that is the role of a member of parliament. No excuses, because
All right. Thank you. I think,
Excuse me.
Yes, Carol, you have something to say before?
I also-
Time is not very good on our side. Yes, Carol?
I also want to comment on what Mutai has just come up about the budget. If it is a matter of budgeting, the other constituencies got their allocation. That means there was no budget for us, or what?
I guess
That's the
Mutai
question.
is not a sitting member of parliament, so we will excuse him for that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so it's all about lobbying, and we've heard that. So we will give an opportunity to those who are watching online, and we'll give an opportunity to only one person, or rather to one question. And there's a question by Stella Kericho, and that caught my attention because she's worked with the county government, and I believe, Bwana Mutai, you work together in the county government. And her question goes like this: Chamususu Water, what will they do to ensure the people of Ravine benefit the most out of it? Water is going to Nakuru. I'm trying to ensure that the flow of the sentence goes like that. So, of course, water is a devolved function, but it is a concern to the residents of Eldama Ravine. Right now, as should you be elected an MP, be sure that question will be asked. So maybe we can start with you, Mutai. What would be your plans to ensure that the people of Eldama Ravine make the best use of this water?
Thank you so much. And I want to say that this is a project that we were lucky to be given. This is the only project that is a Eldama Ravine Constituency, a project of more than 5 billion shilling. What we need, the questions we need to ask is the designs that was done. Because originally the dam is sitting within our constituency. How comes that the designers of the project left some other parts of this constituency, especially the lower level, the lower region where the gravity can work? The other question we need to ask is what happened with the Upper Chimususu project? Because there was a project that was done to target the upper part of this constituency, because it's on a higher level, so we cannot use the gravity water. So what I'll do as a member of parliament are those questions I will have to ask, because the designers of the project was to cover the entire constituency, even before we go to Mogotio and maybe Nakuru. So those are the things that we really want to ask. We have a challenge with the upper part of this constituency. Doesn't have water completely. Completely. Even if you go there, the like of Torongo to Gumo, there's no water. So what we need to do is to follow up on what happened with the Chimususu project, so that we make sure people access water on the other side.
Well,
for this other side is the design.
Yeah.
Are we covering all our entire catchment on the lower part of it, so that we make sure everyone access this water, because I want to believe this might be the only project we have in terms of dams.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the near future we'll have another dam. It could be the only last one.
Fair.
So for me, I'll go and make sure that these catchments must access water and ask questions. Why was it not done?
Well, thank you. Letun, what do you have to say about that?
Thank you so much. First of all, Eldama Ravine was not lucky to get Chembususu Water Dam. We deserved it because we are members of this Kenyan community. The next thing I would want to say is that the problem of water provision, and especially Chembususu, has everything to do with the entire legal regime. And that has everything to do with the Water Act of 2016. As a water professional, the first thing I'll do in Parliament is to seek to amend the Water Act of 2016 and align it with the Constitution of Kenya. Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 of the transitional clauses talk about the responsibility of national government and that of the county government in management of water. The Schedule 2 gives the county government the authority over provision of water. And provision of water, we've always had a discussion where the provision of water start happening. Is it from the dam downwards? Is it from the catchment? So we need to change that law so that we give the county government powers over the management of the entire water infrastructure, so that now it will rest the management of the entire Chembususu water with the county government, so that if we have our neighbors down there, then we can be able to have an intergovernmental, or rather an inter-county framework of managing of this water, so that the excess that we will give it to Nakuru County, the resource or the money coming from that, we can use it to fund those other areas that cannot benefit from Chembususu water because of gravity issues. To me, that is a legislative issue, and it squarely falls under my responsibility as a member of Parliament. The first thing, to amend the Water Act of 2016, to align it with the Constitution of Kenya 2010, to give the county government powers over that water. Thank you.
Does this affect the complementarity between the national government and the county government? Is this the reason why we have this delay? Because I remember the SK, when the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Cecil Kariuki, came here mid last year, he said by 1st December, which is last year, we should have water. Is this?
Oh yes. I was, just to say, I was the director at the Chembususu Water Company during the first county government of Baringo. And those were the issues. The issues are, because this project was implemented by the then Rift Valley Water Services, which is now, I think, Central Rift. And upon completion, because that is an agency of national government, they needed to have handed over that project to Chembususu Water Company.
Yes.
But then there are those delays, because how are they going to hand it over, and yet we don't have the legal instruments that will ensure that Chembususu shares water with Nakuru, and it falls under again another legislation of natural resource benefit sharing legislation, which is still pending at the Parliament. So it is an issue of legislation and policy which I'll be keen, because that is my area.
Fair.
I am a water professional.
Fair.
Thank you.
Well, Kiptonga.
Okay, thank you so much. For the issue of Chembususu water, I think with the existing legislations and the law, the Chinese are done with their work, and that is the main. They have tested the main, they have tested all the tanks, and they are working. The issue now is to supply or to distribute to all the citizen within those mains. And I think soon that company which has been managing Eldama Ravine waters will take over, and then the issue now is to distribute. So we are going to, given the opportunity as the MP, we are going to work together with the county government and all the NGOs that are available to support us. We will write proposal to NGOs to make sure that they supply us with water pipes, because the issue is water pipes and manwork, so that the water can reach electorates of Eldama Ravine. And then for the issue of the upper zone, that is the Torongo, the Torongo, Machon, Mumberes, Tinet, all along to Majimazuri, there is a dam, not a dam, but a weir, which was constructed, and it has not been operationalized. If I'll be given an opportunity, I'll make sure that weir, which is at the upper part of Torongo, make sure that supply water to those areas, which they can, up to the area of Machon, Tinet, all that. And then the other areas which like that one of Tambaras, Seguton, those areas of Majimazuri. I think we are going to consult experts on water to advise us on the way forward on how these people are going to get water. And if we get the expert, they are going to write proposals. Having developed proposals, we will look for the NGOs to fund water and make sure there is water in those areas. The upper zone of Eldama.
Your time is up, Bona
Thank you.
Elijah. So we go to Caro, and we'll have one question from the public, then we'll go on a break.
Okay. I think it goes without saying that it is very unfair that the Chemsusu water will just pass us by. And to me, I will go back to the drawing board and work together with follow up and work together with the framework, the stakeholders who are all involved in this Chemsusu Dam, so that I ensure that our people get water. So basically, I will do a follow-up and work together with all the stakeholders. Yes, thank you.
Carol, is it fair for people of Eldama Ravine to have stayed for this long with this water within the tanks in Eldama Ravine?
Not fair. I started with my statement that it is unfair that the water that is going to pass us by to the next county while our people are suffering. Yeah.
Well, a final question from the public, and this one is majorly on drug abuse. And the concern is coming from Christine Bonet, and I believe Christine Bonet is one of your constituents. She's saying on social issues, please allow the aspirants to tell us how best they can deal with alcohol and drug abuse among our youth, starting from Shauri, I believe it's one of the villages here, and Kisaget, that has become a den, extending to Tumon. We have lost young lives at Salal. And extending to that, there was also another question from someone which has a connection to the same, how we would be planning to deal with the cropping up informal settlements within the urban areas. So you can deal with that. And we've not had an opportunity to start with Ngetuny on any of the questions. And in this, we will just take a minute for that. What would you do with regards to that, Ngetuny?
Thank you to Ms. Bonet for that question. This is a menace, actually. And as a young person, I think I'm the youngest of all the competitors at 30 now. This is a problem affecting young people of my age. We need to, again, apply a multi-pronged approach. Number one is to salvage, because it's an emergency. So we need to have a rehabilitation center here in Ravine to salvage those already who are lost in this, in this alcoholism and abuse of other drugs. The second one is to do with dealing it on a long term, creating opportunities for our young people, because this is actually caused by idleness and frustration and depression. Another thing also is something to do with mentorship. We have lacked mentorship in nobody is mentoring our young people. And then the last one is a security issue, because abuse of drugs is a security issue. We need to, have a conversation around it, because the security issue with the people who are stakeholders within the security sector.
Your 1 minute is up. We move to Caro. What are your plans to mitigate issues, drug abuse?
I will work with other leaders from our constituency, especially from the grassroots level, because they are the ones who can identify these people who are brewing the alcohol. Together with the other leaders will work together so that we make sure that this thing is stopped. And at the long run, once it is stopped, I think legal action should really be enforced on that. And eventually, for those who are already affected, I would also go with putting up a rehabilitation center. I think we don't have that, so that we can help those ones who are already addicted to this.
Well, thank you. To you, Mutai. What are you planning, or rather, based on the question from Madam Bonet, you can respond to that.
Thank you so much.
1 minute.
I want to say also that this has really affected our youths, and we need to really work with the other stakeholders of this aspect, especially the security, so that we really work together in addressing this issue. We need to support our security agencies in terms of really fighting this menace, because that is their core function. The other thing is the way they have said rehabilitation for those already who are on drugs. Lastly is we need to do empowerment for these youths. We found that they're engaging in this bad behaviors because of really they lack what to do and they're very idle, and we need to inject a program that really try to address by making them to be engaged in activities that really assist them not to be idle.
Yeah, 1 minute is up. And to you, Bwana Kiptonge.
I think fighting illicit brews, it should be the responsibility of each and every one of us. If everybody take that responsibility of fighting the illicit brews, it will come to an end. Because if you ask yourself, how does the illicit brews get way from all the way to Naivasha to Tumon, passing all these routes? We have pastors, we have parents, we have chiefs, everybody. So it is until when everybody takes that responsibility, that is when it will come to an end. We should not blame the chiefs, we should not blame the police, we should not blame the security agencies. Everybody should take that responsibility. And for those who are already addicted, I have explained in my agenda number 5. My agenda number 5 says health and mental illness. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are done with our first session. We'll take a break for about 5 minutes. And within that time, you may take a health break as well. So we may get back and continue with the remaining issues that we need to discuss. And to you, the viewers who are viewing right now, we thank you for taking your time. Keep your questions coming and your comments so that we may also pick on what you're telling us. And also, you can tell us where you're watching us from. We will be glad to acknowledge your salutation. Thank you.
Kongo bising ko yok amoy natin SK. Kami cakap engkau mungut inen wacha sokobit kewi gising kaya kita stay eng tebutu kyoton anang go tebutu kita nyagai akhirnya
Zuru Baringo is a virtual tour to Baringo County, the land of 1,000 scenic views. This segment is brought to you by the Lake Bogoria Group of Hotels, led by the Lake Bogoria Spa and Resort in Marakwet, and the Rift Valley Hills Resort in Kabarnet, Baringo County. Karibu Baringo. Chief Soy, and thank you for acknowledging the fact that some of the aspirants are not here with us today. Two of them have given apologies regarding them not attending, that is Edwin Kiptis and Mheshimiwa Musa Sirma. The rest we've not heard from them, despite the fact that we invited them. And this plan has been happening for the last more than 1 month. And maybe a little bit about how we started. We engaged all the aspirants. We had a meeting with each of the aspirants or those who sent representatives. We were together and we had a meeting early in February. And moving on, it's been a build-up of activities up to where we are. And this is the first debate for the MPs in Eldama Ravine and in Baringo County, and probably also in the North Rift. Oh, the whole country. Then that's an honor, and we are taking as a county. They used to say the district #1, and maybe we can call ourselves county #1, though there is a 001 elsewhere. So it is a thumbs up to those who have managed to show up. And if we didn't have an aspirant attending tonight, this event may not have happened. So we are really grateful for those who honored the invite. And going into the second session, we would be looking at about 4 issues. Yes, 4 issues. And
somebody told me, SK, is
yeah.
it probably, I know they are fluent in English and managing, yeah, so I don't think it's about the matter of English or something like that. To the aspirant who didn't turn up, I don't think it's about the language.
We were not.
The union can ask them to speak in Kalenjin.
Well, during the preparation, we were very candid about the language that we would use. So no one, I believe, no one really excused themselves on that basis. All right. So we'll be dealing with 4 issues, and myself and Chipsoy will be alternating on each and every issue. Each of the agenda that we'll be asking you about will give you 2 minutes, and as agreed, there's a timer that you will be looking at, so you may time yourself and give the exact points and not missing out any. Thank you. So to you who is watching online, I could see someone who asking for a clarification on the WhatsApp number. It is 0799 030 030. That is 0799 030 030. That is if you wish to ask a question. And you also have an opportunity to ask through a video. So you can pre-record and send it. We will play it live as you ask your question. Now, moving on to the second session. Youth and unemployment. We had a privilege as an organization to visit the Department of Social Services, and we found out a few facts about the youth in Eldama Ravine, and we'll share that with you. When we were beginning the show, or the debate, where I gave you some data about Eldama Ravine, we have a population of about 129,000, and if you do 70%, assuming 70% of the youth, then we would be talking of a region of 90,000 youth in this constituency. At the social services, there are about there are a number of youth groups that have been registered, and the estimates are in the region of about 400, and the active ones are about 200. Those are youth groups, and these youth also are engaged in the border business. And my question now goes, the youth and unemployment is one of the biggest issues the people of Eldama Ravine are struggling with. Parents are equally concerned as their youthful children who have acquired an education may not be having a job and they're staying with them at home. What do you think is the solution to this crisis? And we also acknowledge the fact that each one of you, when you are given an opportunity to highlight the issues that you would want to attend to, the issues of youth were highlighted. Maybe we can only give you a minute to give a solution to this. And we've given you a few statistics. You can ride on that. And we'll start with Bwana Kiptonge.
Yes, thank you so much. As you have said, the problem of youth is real. And I want to say that given opportunity as the area MP, I have a plan. And I've already started by collecting database from the youth, which has been a problem over time. We have never had a database to show or to give us guide on skills, opportunities, career, creativity, sports, and talents. So what I've started is to have a database portal, and I'm happy so far. 7,000 youth have already submitted their data. This one will inform us on what to do on the way forward. Because if you don't have the database and you don't have the skills, you cannot match with what is the opportunity. So given that opportunity, having gotten the data, we'll do 3 things. 1, we will do seek opportunity for the youth. Number 2, we are going to provide career guidance to the students who are in school so that they take career which we still have market. And then for those who are flooded, we will have to call them, advise them so that others can change their career. And those who are not able to change their career, we can also using the bottom-up economy. We will come to them and discuss what is the way forward.
All right.
Considering on the skills that we'll have gotten.
And a follow-up question to
Yes.
you. You've collected data of
Data.
over 7,000
Yes.
youth. In an election, there's a loser and a winner. There's always one winner.
Yes.
Assuming you don't win, what would you do with that data?
I don't want to assume that I'm going to lose. I'm going to win. Having already 7,000 votes from the youths who have already submitted their data. For sure. Were they submitting for me to take them to Cherai? They were not submitting for me to take to Cherai. This is really practical thing for me to act as an area of MP, area of parliament, and I'll get that broad area to work on it.
But that is a possibility. It is a 50-50 chance. So you might want to rethink that. And maybe, should you fail to clinch the seat, you might want to consider what you'll do with that data so that those youth get to be assisted. Well, to you, Murang'a.
Thank you so much. I have a serious program that seeks to, help, the young people get out of the menace they are in, and we have to be innovative about this issue. I have a program called Eldama Ravine Offtake Program that seeks to do many things as a multi-pronged approach towards addressing this issue. One is to set up a textile center, Eldama Ravine Textile Center. And that is informed by a research that I did. In Eldama Ravine, we have over 35,000 children studying, primary and secondary schools. All of them wear school uniform. And a pair of school uniform goes for at least 2,000 shillings on average price. And 80% of the school uniform worn by our children, these 35,000, come from outside Eldama Ravine. So there's a huge market here for job creation. So we'll set up textile center that will create employment for 150 young people that will seek to ensure that we retain the more than 70 million shillings we lose annually to other areas by setting up that industry where we'll employ our girls and boys who are going to be tailors in this industry. And that is linked up to another program under this Eldama Ravine Offtake program that I seek to train 100 young people annually so that we equip them with relevant skills that the Kenya of today requires, so that our young people can benefit from government's blueprint projects. Remember, this country is industrializing and developing at a rate not seen before, and as it does so, it requires young people with relevant skills. And I'll train young people, 100 of them annually, equip them with these skills so that they work in these government blueprints projects. Among them will be our children who will be working at the textile center, 150 of them. Another one that we need to do is to help the border guys. I mean, that is an enterprise that, if well looked at, it has the potential of turning around the economic fortunes of our people. I also have another program, and I wished the organizers had allocated more time to this issue because it's a big problem to the community.
Time?
The last one, comment maybe so that you eat into my time later.
Okay.
Is about an opportunity. It's a program that I seek to take 50 young people annually abroad to get opportunities in countries like US and UK, and some of us have those networks. If for those who know, I just accompanied the Deputy President in his trip of UK and the US because we were leveraging on networks that we have to even help the 5th President of the Republic, and we're going to use the same network to help the young people of Eldama Ravine. And lastly, we need to attract investment. As I speak to you, I'm a young entrepreneur who has invested in Baringo County, who has invested in Eldama Ravine, and I have created job opportunities for 200 young people. That is the magic that attracting investment can do to help our young people get out of the unemployment situation. Thank you.
Well, you've eaten into your feedback, or rather us giving you a follow-up question, so we may not give you that opportunity. And to you, Caro, then we'll finish with Mutai.
To me, as I started, when we started this program, I said that is one of my agenda. When I started, I said white-collar job is a problem across the country. So I have a plan of which I'm going to categorize how to help these young men and the youth, I mean. So I have categorized them in a way that I'm going to One, I'm going to empower them in terms of the already existing groups by boosting them. Those who have already started businesses, those who have already started doing things like agribusiness, by taking them even to an institution where they can be trained on how to do modern agriculture. I will also encourage them, once they have identified their talents, we may nurture their talents too. Those who are doing sports, I also plan to put up an high altitude athletic center where they are going to train, and this will be able to even help them the activities that they are going to do, that it is going to be one of their careers. I also plan to sponsor the youth in doing skills or taking them to colleges. We have one TVET here, of which to me I think needs to be more equipped. We need to sensitize them that it is there, and we should be the first people to be the beneficiaries there, so that they can do skills, or they train on skills that they can later on employ themselves. So that is one of the things that I intend to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You've said the other activities.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of courses? What kind of courses are you looking at introducing so that you can equip skills to these youth, and what skills specifically are you looking at equipping on these youth?
Yes. I know the ones that are already existing here includes plumbing, electronics, and the rest. So to me, as an health professional, I know the other technical things like I being an eye specialist. We have a skill that has not been exploited. We have optical, whatever we call optical technicians, the ones who used to cut glasses so that we fit them in the frame. That is just a technical skill that once we do it here, because I see the eye specialists in Ravine sending their glasses to be made in Nakuru. So that is part of also training them to acquire skill that they can employ themselves.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And finally, to Mutai, what do you have to say about that question?
Thank you so much. You have really bring it very clearly that we have a challenge with the youths, and we really appreciate that. What we need to do is, you have told us people have acquired the relevant skills, but there is no job opportunity. I'll do it this way. This is an issue that affects the whole country. And here, this is where we want the government to be accountable, in that we need to train people and match it to the opportunities. The problem with the policies that we have is that training has been conducted everywhere, but there is nowhere the government is accountable, so that we have a database that tells us within this country, locally, we require this number of nurses, we require this number of plumbers, so that we really match the local content in terms of the opportunities and the international one. By doing so, we will have the relevant skills being produced in colleges, because what we are doing now is commercial. People are training people, then they are investing too much. Later on, there is nowhere to go, because parents are suffering, because you invest and there is no return. So for me, what I'll do is, we need our national conversation so that we compel the government to have that accountability aspect. That's one. That is at the national level. At the local level is, we try to synthesize the aspect of the skill that is required by market, because we understand. Because as we go around, we have a lot of CVs. You find somebody has done business administration, HR. These are courses really that are very flooded in the market. You cannot find opportunities. Lastly is the one on the border, and that is an aspect that I want to talk about it. As we sit now, there are guys who are paying a loan for 82% for the border riders. They normally buy, maybe they use the other time. So let me explain this point. So I was saying that these guys are paying 82% interest for a loan to take a border. We need a deliberate approach, or now we can have our own sons from the soil that can do this business, and we negotiate for these guys because they are suffering, so that even we can have a negotiated interest rate of around 20%, and these guys are allowed to pay for a period of time, because what they are going through is very difficult. I want to say I really sympathize with those guys, and we need to do something about them, because we are saying these are guys of around 3,000 in our constituency. Those are guys really conducting this business of border, and this is our youths mainly. We need to handle that aspect. Lastly is we support existing enterprises, like the one for the carrot roses. They are doing a very good job, employing around 1,500. If we can have some partnership that we can even do some outcross in terms of the flower farms, we can still add some value to these youths. With that, really, we will change our constituency.
All right. So with that, we may not have a...
And lastly is the one for the, and that's why my slogan is Wazesha Mwananchi. We want to bring this guy, the border guy, up as we go.
For fairness in time, we may not allow you to continue.
Okay. Maybe a quick one for our panelists here. There's a low uptake with the TVET institution, especially from the students within here. What could be the problem in less than Amen, please?
I would say for the one low uptake is we need to finance this fully. You know, the problem is we have this kitty of the bursary. If we really do a deliberate program that you finance fully, there will be that
but
after.
They can still access the help loan. They still access up to around 60,000. Why the local students not going to this TVET institution?
We need a lot of mentorship and the way career development, so that we really train, and also we need to model it so that our people are very cunning. They will only succeed once someone else has succeeded. So we need to do a lot of the piloting. Yes, that's right.
Why our children from Baringo County not going to this TVET institution? Because they're there.
It has an historical background. In this country, the courses over the TVETs, pre-colonial, were courses that were offered to Africans. And Africans were not allowed to take these courses that would earn them white-collar jobs. So it created a mentality that those are jobs, those are manual jobs meant for the low, people at the lower card of the society. And then people then rushed. So, you know, Kenyans, the way we like consuming some things. So it has an issue with historical background, and we need to teach our people that is where we are headed. So it is a lot of like uhamasisho. You know, we need to tell them that is what we need to do, because we have a lot of scholarship, but people are not taking them up. But then again, we need, like he said, we need to match up these trainees with opportunities, and that is what Eldama Ravine Off-Tech program seeks to do. Train you and off-tech you know, to the market, and therefore the rest can see it being meaningful, and they will then want to do it.
Well, I think that is not the case. I want to believe, because I've been with these people and I've been in the ground, even others were given that sponsorship to undertake those courses. Yeah. But their major problem is the finance, that they are going to upkeep them in wherever they are going to live within that.
But there's an option of staying in the hostels.
But still you have to pay extra fee. The hostel cannot pay full money. And that is where the major problem. And you know, some of these people are parents. They need to provide back to their families.
Is this really the genuine reason why this? Because if you go to school like Eminem and this one, out of 1,500 students, there are 50 from the locality.
Let me tell you, let me give you reference to my locality. There are youths who are given the offer, even the Mheshimiwa paid for them, but eventually they did not take the offer. Reason, because of other responsibilities that they have behind them. Okay. You see? So they cannot multitask the course with other activities.
I agree. I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Carol, is it, Kipchonga said, we appreciate the challenges of finance from where we come from, because probably the county is not well endowed. Is this really enough reason why should these students who have an opportunity to proceed these institutions?
No, to me, majorly, it's just because of poor sensitization.
Okay.
Because there are a group of professionals who decided to volunteer and go around doing that. And we could see they couldn't miss one or two who eventually agreed to be taken. So it's just purely a matter of sensitization. Yeah.
And the role model that Mutai was talking about?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Kindly allow me to add one thing on, that I didn't mention, and I feel I should mention before end of this. Part of my manifesto, we said that we need to encourage our youth to take up courses that eventually you will be employed or you employ yourself. So as part of my manifesto, you're all aware that we don't have a college in Eldama Ravine apart from the TVET. So in my manifesto, I plan to come and establish together with other stakeholders, the county government, to come and establish a college of Kenya Medical Training Center here in Eldama Ravine, where I believe those are the courses that when they undertake, they are either employed or they get self-employment. And as a result of that, when you have such an institution in our town, already it is also going to create employment, and at the same time it is going to improve the economy of our town. Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Comment?
Take a little moment to hand over to the program to the studio for CAS TV, then we continue.
Thank you very much, SK Comment. Thanks. Noton ko SK Comment ne noton ko age mut ke katkari noton po debate noton po aspirants chiba ko masana po Eldama Ravine. Aso ko ma gi chu sai se genyor logo gabe met ko ko sai tangwan no ke mo tabra ne geren te tutti ke anako logo gabe met chiba CAS TV. Konya bane bo Baringo News noton ko Solomon Comment active in meeting nito game chike mo ko missing kama kebe bertan po studio ko missing Mheshimiwa Karo Tarang au bakasatana ga ibone che ko missing Mheshimiwa Elijah Kitonge ko missing Bwana Emmanuel Ngetun ko missing Bwana Nixon Mutai ngasatana ga mucho bonech keta sakte tutiriton bo kandoi chibo ko masana ba Eldama Ravine ko mo missing ke mo ko ngoi Bwana Mutai Nixon Mutai sore ad so bet kebe tan so to nole kitinye mu ke bo shita ga tayange Bwana Mutai. Yes, Alan Kabarnet nimito yu gerbi chabe mo ko ngoi engda ga tayange. Yes, use your mic. Yes.
So I just want to say thank you for the organizers of the team, and this will make it an historic and a benchmark for other leaders who will come. So we want to congratulate you so that we have leaders to come and sell their policies. This is a platform that is where people will understand what you want to give to their constituency, unlike what we have been doing. And I want to congratulate you that you have set the base for the next generation in terms of leadership of Eldama Ravine and Baringo at large. So we want to thank you, and we say continue in that spirit. For those who did not come, we say sorry, because this is a very good platform for all of us, so that we really know each other. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Kongoi.
Yes.
Kongoi missing CAS TV again Baringo News agobo tetutiani bo aspirants debate nebo Thai in kele Kenya mzima again Baringo again Rift Valley kongoi missing in tetutiet nebo kamanut missing amachawe chigongoi kosiga kasafe mak chiga watchen CAS TV agolenji Emmanuel Ngetun ko kandoindet nenyoni sokoyai kasit ak arap Ruto eng ngalekab bottom up eng chamaitab UDA. Kongoi missing makwak chamiach.
Kongoi sere donge
As kongoi missing akobo en CAS ak Baringo News amache amwa ale atinye somutik ang'wan en biik tugul chekerei tetutiet nebo rani netai amache asom kuraisiek kwak tugul okwek chokero ale obirwo amatinye panganutik chekororon chetokyingei somanet ak kijanaek. Nebo oeng amache ayokto okwek tugul chokero obomwoinewo biik chemomi chemokeret en betutab lairi enji mito nepanganat nemache kondoiwok. Nebo somok asome sautikwok tugul, asome sautik tugul kosoiwon. Ak nebo mwisho amache ale mi biik chekikeberber kikochokon at ko kikotil tamaa kole makebire kura. Asome choe tugul kobokotieman.
Aya, gongoi Karo inye nibolet asikobit kewekte.
Amwa gongoi kotane uche en CAS TV koboto Baringo News. this is a very good forum. Nekakotoretech akotoret akichek constituents so that they can be able to filter and evaluate the right leader nenyoni. So amache asom biikab Ravine tugul. Tai nengunye ni mama wa kwanza kusimama MP Ravine. Kwa hivyo this time round ongebe kotab Lekitio. Amu kotab Lekitio kuna magot komugul kongoi neo.
Yes. Kutuma wetu sote SK kwa niaba na collaboration Bokas TV ak Baringo News.
Well, kimwa kongoi bwana Chepsoi amu kyo yanakwek kenamge unek age kazi netugul amu koyega kokitowat kai komwa kele tetutiene kotoretech kenai kele ngo bichu nebo oeng kenai kele bichu kotinye ne nemoche koyochi biikab Eldama Ravine Constituency. Nebo somok kora kotoretech kepunguzan tension, you know, ku Eldama Ravine Constituency kotindoi competition neo kabisa. Mi aspirants chema regunen sogol nebo oeng kora ku competition komi barak kabisa. Aku this could be the only constituency na mami incumbent. So equal platform. Mami chini vile tinye undue advantage. So kunoe ko punguzane ko kwa pichu togolio ko punguzane ma.
Katendo bichura kulikitie.
Kabisa.
For the first time. Katendo bichu une.
Mami. Alaksana ko magerege. So ko gubuna check kasare ko tuyo bichu ako ngalal kipagenge. Nebo mwisho ko ngalek chika chika ko bichu komi on record. Ama bende way. Ngobunne kenyikab 2020 well 2026-2027 kuma tungogere bichu akutebenge kule Madam Karo bona Kiptonge bona Ngetuny ak Mutai ko kimwa ne akutos kiyai ngot ko kiyai ko kiitano tos yeme kewegu anan ono so
kesikini ke ngatan wuli kikabonyo watenyurijo komwa. Wonderful.
Hiyo ndio kazi yenye hii platform inafanya. Kwa mwisho kimwa kongoi MP tugul chakaimuch ko keren Kas TV ako keren Baringo News akagetebi tugul for the last almost 3 hours. Ketesetai kono kimwa kongoi ako kimige kuoni constituency nenengung age kageta Ravine. Ano Baringo South, ano Tiati, ano Baringo North, ano Baringo Central, ano Mogotio, kekuoni amu kimache kaindo na tena kararan NP ga Baringo kongoi.
Kongoi naton ko SK comment naton ko Solomon comment naton ko kikoboishe naton chepchepindo nebo koristo anan ko social media koger kole katech kot neminin agoi koek piu anan ko lenge neminin agoi piu no kimache kimochi mukonya gene amu lakwetab Baringo County nemoche kogochi biik cho akne kelchinet nebo koger kole kanyorchige kukwet neome logoi ngominin anan ko koboto konoto ko kimwa kele okot chepkol ko muren en kaitanyin konoto kityo kemoche kimochi ngongoi missing Baringo County News eng kibagenge lakini keboishe koboto Kas International, Kas TV kwa niaba nebo producer ninyona noton ko Ronald Chebos ak transmission imiten netan Victor eng team tugul kugurnon Tom Chepsoi kimokwogit age tugul nemie alo uruyena tala akota sawo ger Kas TV amugim natet nae.
Well Kibruni. Okay, you can clap for Chepsoi and the Kas team.
Let's proceed on.
So tunaendelea and thank you for holding on and with the partnership that we're having with Kas TV, you will bear with us. We have to be switching from one language to the other. For those who may not be understanding the language, we were just signing off from Kas TV because we are moving, they are moving on with other programs as we continue live on Baringo News. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and we're also live on Ravine News, which is one of the leading platforms in the North Rift region. Well, we are moving on to our 6th agenda, and this is to do with the vulnerable groups and the special groups. And this, I'm sure, Caro, who is the only lady in the room, I'm sure this could be something that is closer to your heart than any other person here. Of course, that's an assumption, but every leader here would be having their own thoughts about it. Well, vulnerable groups, these are people living with disabilities. There are also new groups that have come up, people living with HIV/AIDS and people living with diabetes. These are, and I'm mentioning them because those are groups that are established in Eldama Ravine. There are like 2-3 groups for those living with HIV and AIDS and 2-3 groups for those living with diabetes. They have come up together to improve their social welfare. And majority of them are very keen on their economic empowerment. And apart from these youth who are a vulnerable group, we've discussed about them and how we are planning to sort out their issues of unemployment. And here we have people living with disabilities, women, and other special groups, as I've mentioned. What specific plans do you have for these special groups, excluding the youth whom we have discussed? Over to you, Caro.
As you say, this is actually my main area of interest also, because as I introduce myself, I'm a health professional, and while I was still working, I sat in a committee where we certify those who are visually disabled. So I have an interest with them. When I started my campaign, I visited them, and I've seen there's a big challenge, not only in Ravine, but in Baringo. Those people living with disability hide themselves. So to me, I started by saying, even in education or in terms of schools, I am going to set up, or in existing schools, we are going to introduce more special schools where the children living with disability are able to learn along with the others. To others who may have developed disability along way in their lives, especially I've seen many, even professionals, who may go blind even when they're working, or other forms of disability which comes with the occupation. To me, I'm planning to come and put up a rehabilitation center whereby they are going to offer skills to train them depending on the type of disability that they have, so that they may not only sit in the house, because when they sit in the house, the ones taking care of them are not able to go and work in their daily lives. And also to them, they are going to get an opportunity to get a skill that can keep them going.
Okay.
Yes.
Your time is up on that, but of keen interest, when I was introducing it,
Yes.
I gave you upper hand.
Yes.
On the women, we've not had anything. What plans do you have for the women of this constituency?
Yes. As you all know, women are also the backbone of the community, economical activity of a region or an area. So I have a plan for women by empowering the already existing registered groups. They have groups, and I will also help those who have not registered to register and get groups, so that we can be able to boost them to do activities that are going to improve their daily lives. Another thing, I'm going to help them get a circle, Eldama Ravine Women Circle, so that they can be able to get loans. They lend themselves loans at a very low interest. Yes.
All right. We'll move on to Mutai. Then we'll finish with Ngetuny and Elijah.
Thank you so much. With this vulnerable group like the BWD, I want to say that we need really to recognize them. In fact, our people sometimes are very shy even to really bring on board these kind of kids. So what we need to do is really to talk to them so that they allow, or they get these kids out of the houses and we take them to school, because that's a challenge. As we move around, we get these kids all over, they're within the houses. And with the existing facilities, we really improve on what they don't have, so that really they access those skills and they can have their own life continuing. The aspect of database for this, we must have as a constituency. How many PWDs do we have, so that we see how we can assist them in terms of bursary? These are the vulnerable groups that really even their parents should be assisted as we continue forward. On the issue of the women, we have gone down, and women are there. They have registered their groups, but what they lack is the capacity. On what project are they supposed to do? They do merry-go-rounds, and I always tell them merry-go-round is going around. It is not going forward or backward. So we need really to come up with a program so that we assist them with the capacity, show them the programs that can be done, employ some people who can assist them really to access some good loans and do a meaningful business that add their value. And that comes with this approach element that we pray that we really win as a UDA, so that the 100 million that we were promised as a constituency, this is where really we need to invest. And when we do this to these women, we will have changed the lives of most of the households. Thank you.
Thank you. You've kept your time. When you say merry-go-round, you will keep going round.
Yes.
How will you make them stop not going round?
I will do this way.
Ensure what they are doing keeps to empower them and not just going round, as you say.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that. And we need to train them. That's one. We need to train them. Two, we need really to try and look for them, say some, partner with these guys who are assisting these women and put them into projects that really add value in terms of their profits and all that. What they have been doing is going down because they are just trying to live between, they just live a life. They just get the money from here and use it. Is it for consumption? It is not, what they are doing is not really business or enterprise oriented. It is a social issue that they only do for the sake of continuity. Otherwise, for the aspect of business enterprise, it is not within their limit.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. To you, Metin, what plans do you have for these special groups?
On PWDs, I have a deliberate program that I intend to set up one special school powered to be able to help our children living with disability. Another program under people living with disability, we need to do an audit of what the 30% government affirmative action for people with disability has achieved. Because what we realize is that able people use the documents of disabled people to register companies and earn an income. What I intend to do is to register one big company and build the capacity of people living with disability coming from Eldama Ravine, so that we help them do tenders, and the income that comes out of that, we give them some stipend like that of Inua Jamii, because we, by that time, have dividends, or rather data for all the people. On women, I have a deliberate program to help our big women, take them to the next level. We don't need to undermine what they've been doing in the name of merry-go-round. That is what has educated some of us. That is what has uplifted the lives of many women in the communities. All we need to do is to take that into the next level. And I have a plan that in the next 10 years, Eldama Ravine women will have an enterprise or a circle or an institution, a financial institution that will have money not less than 500 million shillings, which they will own through shares, and they will be earning dividends. Another one to help our women, especially young mothers, is Eldama Ravine Textile Center. It is a deliberate program to help young mothers. And out of the 150 young people will employ there, 100 of them will be young girls. And it is a program to target women. Another one, I am blessed to belong to a party whose principal economic model is bottom up. We need to help our women in whatever they are doing, especially agribusiness. We need to help them diversify their farming so that they go into, income generating or agriculture.
Your time has gone, but I have a question on the textile. How long are you planning? How long will it take you to set up that, should you be elected? The textile company or industry?
We'll run into 2 ways. There will be a training and a program, and they'll be setting up the industry. So maybe towards the end of my second year, it will be up and running.
Where are you planning to build it? And you think there is land for that?
No, we'll always get land. Eldama Ravine, although poorly planned by the former leaders, but that is not going to be a problem. We have plenty of space. This is not Nairobi. This is pretty much a rural town. Still have space.
So within 2 years, Meton will have set up a textile industry. So yes, it is a time to be accountable.
Also, for the sake of also accountability and also practicability of that plan, how much will it cost the taxpayer, having in mind that your kitty is, of course, is limited to some amount?
It doesn't have to be taxpayers. Innovative leadership, brings on board many partners that can help us achieve some of these things. Yeah.
And when you talk of partners, sorry, we are taking much time with you because some clarity needs to be. When you talk of partners, which partners are you already looking at?
County government. We have development partners, like USAID and many others. I don't want to diverge much of it because I realize my competitors like investing stuff.
Well, to you, keep telling me.
Okay, thank you so much. For the issue of BWDs, I want to believe I have experience and I've known them over time. Reason, I've been a teacher aiming integrated school for the blind. And also I've been CSO, whereby we have 2 schools for the BWDs. That is St. Patrick for the physically impaired, and also Simatwet for the physically impaired. So the issue is not the schools. We have enough schools. We have Majimazuri for the mentally handicapped. We have Esageri for the hearing impaired. So the issue, we have enough schools. The problem here is that majority of these children who are physically challenged, they come from ample family. And most of them, they will not take them to school unless there is a serious follow-up. So what I'm going to do to make sure that these children are taken care of is to give them full bursary because of their background. Give them full bursary. The other thing which you have to note is that all these children, they must be in a boarding school. It is a must that they have to be in a boarding school. So, coming from an ample family and they don't have fees, it will be a challenge. So I'll give them full bursary. And then for the issue of women, if you check my manifesto, I've just written women. Why? These women has a lot of activities that they are going to do. So I'm going to use my leadership skill, known as consultative skill. Meet them and discuss with them their issues. Thank you.
All right. A follow-up question.
Yes.
About what you've just said.
Yes.
Would you expound on that and how practical would it be to use?
Yes. This is a model of leadership. You can call it consultative leadership, bringing in mind that those whom you are leading, they also know what they want, what the leader has to do for them. So what I'm going to do is to facilitate. And then you can couple it with homegrown solution. Already the people have their solution. The leader is to facilitate. So going to when Laikipia to yeta kokwo agongalane bi ogosir ageyachi uyimache.
Can we call that public participation?
Well, when it comes to public participation,
can we call it public participation, yes or no? How different?
It is different.
Okay, well,
different.
It's not
public participation, bringing people from different regions to come and air their things here.
All right.
And then what is going to their village? Have that village alone discussing their issues. So are you seeing the difference?
Well, to the audience, no reactions whatsoever.
On the same SK, so Tommy, you mentioned a very interesting part, especially in PWDs. You've been the head teacher for Embu for quite a while.
Correct.
There's a huge there's a huge difference. There's a huge gap in the students from the physically challenged schools. For example, the international sign language doesn't conform with our sign language.
Yes.
Okay. And then 2, the same students who come out from this institution, they have difficulty in communicating in terms of text. Let's say this is a deaf person. They can't write in Kiswahili. Either they're fluent in texting in English or writing in English, and they can't do it in Kiswahili. Why is that so?
Well, sign language, we are talking of those who are hearing impaired.
Yeah.
Okay? So there is a standard standard language they are using in terms of sign. And there are ways which they want to harmonize so that it reads one. Okay? But if you go to school like Sageri, that is what they are doing. And in fact, they are testing that in the exam, the sign language. And the students are doing well. So the other thing which is bringing a challenge is that issue of the teachers. We may not have enough teachers to do training for these children. Okay. And I want to say, when it comes to these physically challenged students, they have a challenge in terms of the materials they are using. And I have the skills of lobbying, and I lobbied Eminem, and they secured materials of over 10 million.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Fair enough. See? Yeah.
Well, we move on to the next
Okay, we'll move to the next questions. Thank you very much for the time and the consistency you followed during the time. Because of the interest of time, I can see it's 18 minutes past 10 o'clock. And for the sake of interest of time, I have two sets of questions, but I will merge them into two on the equity and national agenda. Okay? On the equity, Eldama Ravine is a cosmopolitan. It's a meltdown of communities from different tribes and religion. What's your agenda in this aspect in terms of bringing unity in these communities? And then two, what's your national agenda for Eldama Ravine? I will, Kiptonge seems to be paying attention to what I'm writing down. Can you go first?
Okay, in terms of equity, in terms of resource distribution, was that the case? Equity.
Yes.
Yes. So if you find my slogan is Arrow ya Maendeleo. One of the responsibility or one of the function of an arrow is to spread humus across the farm. So there is no shortcut. We must distribute the resources of Eldama Ravine equitably to all the residents of Eldama Ravine. There is no shortcut. We must do that. If it is to use ratio, if it is to use percentage, we must do that. Every person has to get the share of the cake of Eldama Ravine constituency. The way the arrow distribute humus in the farm. Yes.
Do you know how to use the arrow yourself?
Yes, I'm a farmer.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have the implement.
Okay, very good. Mr. Getu?
Thank you so much. I think on equity, equity is a critical factor for sustainable development, which is anchored in my manifesto. I mean, I have worked in government before. I've worked at the Council of Governors, and sitting at the helm of Council of Governors, I had the opportunity to work with all the counties in the Republic. And with that background, I think I can be trusted with ensuring that the resources of Eldama Ravine people benefit all the people of Eldama Ravine, regardless of the community they may be coming from, regardless of any other status. I mean, equity is not only ethnic-based, equity even in terms of even gender and every other things. And I think among all the candidates running for this seat, I can be trusted with regard to equity issue. There's an element of national development, a national agenda, which I think I should address myself to hit. I'm a national leader, and I have worked at national levels in many ways, and my national agenda is to be the champion of the bottom-up economic model, to be the champion of the Deputy President's agenda, and given a chance to be elected as a member of Parliament, I think I will be one of the most vocal leaders supporting the UDA agenda. And I think it is already evident by the fact that I'm working closely with the Deputy President in his international agenda. And that is why, needless to say, I was selected among the only 10 leaders who accompanied him in his international tour of duty of UK, Washington, D.C., and London. So I think I'm as good as a national leader.
We cannot say for sure the reason why you are picking. Probably we will not want to delve into that. Carol, what makes you that unifying factor?
As we all know that Eldama Ravine is a cosmopolitan town, yes, constituency. I will ensure that there is equity distribution of the resources of Eldama Ravine, that it will reach each and every the rightful people, and I will do that by involving all of them, at least one from each region in a sector where we are distributing the resources of this constituency. Yeah.
Wonderful. You spend your time with the national agenda, maybe?
What would be your national agenda?
Yeah. Because this is a parliamentary seat. It involves a lot of stakes down here, and of course, having in mind that this is a legislative post.
Yeah. I will. My national agenda is that I will ensure that once I'm there, I will do my legislation part by putting across the things that we need from our grassroots level. Yeah.
Take agenda down to the national level.
Do you have an example of that?
Being a health professional, I will go and champion a bill where the vulnerable groups, the old, and the people living with disabilities, that they've been treated for free. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Mutai, you go last.
Thank you so much. For the aspect of equity, this is a cardinal principle of our constitution. It gives us that what we undertake while serving the citizens must be equitable. If we are saying this in respect to even sharing the small bursary that we have, it should be very equitable. Dealing with sharing of the kitty that really we are mandated to do as member of parliament, we need to do it in a very fair manner, because what we have been really addressed to is we have some leaders, when they are not voted in some polling station, there are some polling stations that they never get any development because you never voted for that guy. So I want to promise the people of Eldama Ravine that once given that opportunity, we'll make sure that every citizenship of Eldama Ravine gets the fair share of their, because they are taxpayers. Two, on the national agenda, I will do a bill, and remember we have this challenge for the youth and unemployment. And I earlier said that we need to align our skills to the opportunities. And I will make sure that we have a bill that will make the government to be accountable, to give us that records that this is what we require, so that when parents invest in education, they are assured of the return on the investment. And I think that one will solve the issue of the youth. So what I want to say is that we will sort out that issue of the youth at the national level through legislation of that small bill that will align skills and the accountability of the part of the government, so that people invest where they will get returns. Thank you so much.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you, Mutai. I think we'll take one question from the public. It's something of interest. This is someone who has sent us a question through WhatsApp. That is 0799-030-030. And this is Kibet from Tinet. He's saying access to health, quality health. Access to health is increasingly becoming expensive and driving families to poverty. And there's someone who said you're only one admission to poverty. And admission in this case is being admitted in hospital. And this gentleman is saying this is because most of the public hospitals do not have facilities or drugs to treat the constituents. So definitely they end up opting for private health care. This is from the sub-county hospitals to dispensaries where drugs like Panadol, one is told to go buy from pharmacies. We have heard of allegations that doctors divert drugs from the public hospitals to their personal clinics and pharmacies. What is your plan on handling the horrible state of hospitals and access to health care? Of course, health is devolved, but this is a pertinent question, and I'm sure one of you would have been called today to contribute to someone who is ailing.
Sure.
And this is a pain on every leader's neck, if we may say. So, to you, Metwin, what do you have to say about that?
Such a critical question.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't appear as a topical issue of discussion today. And like you say, we are one admission to poverty. Many families have been rendered poor or desolate because of health care. I think you asked something about national agenda. I am a believer of devolution as a silver bullet to the challenges affecting this country. One thing I will do is to fight for more resources, because the county governments are struggling with the little they have to address the healthcare issue. So if we fight for more resources, over 45% of the national budget to come to county government, and then we ensure accountability, I think we will be able to address the healthcare issue more alongside, of course, with the national agenda of universal healthcare that is already being rolled out. Thank you.
Carol, what can you say about that comment from Kibet of Tinet?
To me, since you just said, and we all know that health is devolved, I think this is something that we need to sit down with the county government and see a way out, because for sure it is a critical issue that cuts across, so that we may know how to lobby and work together for the benefit of our people. And to me, again, I had an agenda of starting a program by the name Mama Care. We can also put up a mobile clinic that will reach out to places where there are no health facilities. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Carol. Kiptonge?
Yes, thanks so much. Given that health is a default function, if I'm given opportunity to serve as the MP, because the people that I'm serving are the same people that the county government are serving, so I have to make sure that the services given at all the dispensaries and the sub-county hospital within my jurisdiction, that they are operating. Because I want to know, to believe this is all about administrative issue. Because other counties are doing very well. Other counties, they have drugs in their hospitals. So I think for our case, it is administrative issue. So I'll provide that oversight and make sure that the county government is playing their role effectively to make sure that there are drugs in all the hospitals within my jurisdiction. And then there is also the issue of this other, you find that if the hospital, the government hospital cannot provide services that you need, like for the diseases like cancer, the MRH, the CT scan, all those, the treatment. And if you are admitted in a private hospital and you don't have any cover, I think there should be a limit whereby the patient should be allowed to pay. If it has exceeded that limit, the government will take over. For example, we have had people taking bills up to 2 million. So I want to believe that for ordinary people, they can be given a leeway of up to 20,000. If it goes beyond there, the government will take over. And that is a bill which should be taken in consideration. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that, and thank you for keeping time. Bwana Mutai, you're the...
Thank you so much. For me, on this aspect of the health is, we already have a law that has been passed for the universal health provision for all citizens, those are vulnerable. For me, I'll make sure that thing is implemented through the parliament by allocating enough money to the agency that will execute that function. By doing so, we will reach many Kenyans. The other aspect is the oversight, of course, because this is a county function, and being a leader within the same constituency, serving the same people, we need a synergized way of working with the existing leaders within the county, so that we really make sure that the small dispensaries that we have are really facilitated. And of course, out of this, if we synergize as leaders, if we talk it out, because we are serving the same people, we do not have to say this is a county function and it affects your citizens in the Ravine. We are working for the same people. What we need to do is synergize, agree in the table, so that we make sure that people are served irrespective of your mandate, because all of you are leaders by virtue of being elected to serve those people. Right. So for me, we will work together with the county government, and of course, working with that universal health program that is being executed at the national level so that we have enough funds to disperse to these agencies, and then we are done with that.
All right, thank you, Mutai, for that. You mentioned about UHC, universal health coverage. You have 20 seconds. What exactly are you planning to implement? You said you will make sure that funds are allocated to implement UHC. How would you do that?
The policy is already out.
And
what does that mean is we need to go and allocate money to that so that these people access that service. Because what is remaining now is only to allocate that fund, and it is ongoing to run so that people access that service. We are paying much for these hospital bills, and our vulnerable groups really are suffering. The way you have said, they have made these people to be poor. So once we are done with that, it is under Big Four agenda. And I want to believe that come next government, that thing will be implemented and will be part of that process.
All right, thank you. And Ngetun, you seem to have something to say.
I think the underpinning thing within the universal, the UHC, is insurance.
Yeah.
That is basically what government is trying to do, and is already rolling out. So what we need to do is to ensure that we roll it out to the fullest, because all we need to do is to have our people insured, and government has a role in supporting some vulnerable members of our community, subscribe or pay up to these, to this NHIF service, so that when you fall sick, then the cover comes in aid of you, and therefore we need not to do these michangos left, right, and center. But then, as a leadership, we have the responsibility of encouraging those others who are not vulnerable to ensure that they are also members of this UHC through now, having this insurance coverage. And that is a role we can even do with our CDF allocation, so that we try and pay for people and encourage people, or come up with, programs that people will then be, have this insurance coverage that will come into aid of them when they fall sick.
Dr. Karo, you hold the title Daktari, and that's what I see people calling you around. With your medical background, what do you have to say about this universal health care?
Basically, as Ngetun has just talked about it, it's an insurance thing that we're just waiting for it to roll. And I think if well implemented, it is going to help the patients. Yeah.
Okay. Kiptonge, what do you have to say about that?
Yes, as my colleagues have said, as insurance, and basically it was tested in other counties and did not work. So actually it requires a lot of planning so that it has universal health care works. And for the case that it has not worked, for those who have acquired bills up to millions, I think there should be other bills which should assist them as of now, before that universal health care is rolled to its fullest.
Well, I think there's something I really wanted to hear from each one of you, and I've not heard from anyone so far. And this is purely on NHIF and the policy that you have to choose a hospital. Maybe none of you uses NHIF. I do. And all my staff here are on NHIF as well. You're forced to choose one facility. That means, should you move to another town,
Disadvantages.
you are disadvantaged. You cannot access health, any services from any other facility until you go back to where you chose. And when you change the facility, it takes a whole 3 months to get effected. I was waiting to hear about that. What do you think about these policies that are stringent and they are disadvantaging the same people whom we think, or to whom the government is saying they want to sort out the issues of healthcare?
Those are so many unfortunate bottlenecks within the NHIF. I think the previous NHIF law, but under the UHC, it seeks to correct that particular thing. I've gone through it. It seeks to, to remove those bottlenecks, to enable you seek services wherever you fall here. And I think it has been addressed already. All we need to do is to roll out to its fullest. And I'm glad the government is doing it. The counties that have piloted it it's working. Makueni County is having a very beautiful, UHC scheme, and we just need to fast track it so that we don't have, we don't wait for people to suffer more before we have it, help them.
Okay. Carol?
I think that one has been addressed. It's just a matter of time for it to be rolled down. It has been addressed through the UHC. Yeah.
Kiptonge?
Yeah, the issue of NHIV is really that if you are an outpatient, you cannot be assisted or treated unless you go back to where you register. So that is a problem, and I think if that universal health care comes in place, it will correct it. But if the universal health care delays, that thing has to be corrected for the people not to suffer anymore. Because Kenyans do move, and they have to be assisted.
Okay.
Yes.
Mutai, as we conclude?
I don't have much to say. I think I talked of the UNHC as a program that it requires only execution. The aspect of the one you have talked about is being addressed, as he has said, in that policy.
And okay, I think that is fair enough, and it comes out that all of us acknowledge that it is an issue that needs to be addressed, and that was inspired by a comment that I saw on from one of the viewers. We are heading to the tail end of this debate, and before we go to the last bit, there's an issue that I feel it didn't come out well. This is a cosmopolitan constituency. Right now we are campaigning, and there's an issue to do with inclusion of all people of different walks of life. How are you planning to ensure that there's inclusion of all people from all places within your day-to-day activities, and even formation of boards and all that, as should you be elected an MP? And maybe we can start with Mutai.
Under my core values, if given the opportunity to work under this constituency, one of my core values is to work under teamwork and inclusivity. Under that inclusivity, we'll make sure that these other groups that we are, because this constituency is cosmopolitan, we'll make sure that really they equitably access resources, services like any other. Because I would say one thing, the one to make sure that everyone is on board. When we are allocating bursaries, we are doing it at the sub-location. Some places like Tau, you put it as a sub-location. It is very it's an inequality in its nature because of the population, the people who are sitting there. So we need some programs really that really address that aspect of cosmopolitanity, so that we make sure that these people feel that we are part of this Eldama Ravine.
Okay, that was, I'll give you a minute, Ngetunju. What do you have to say about inclusion? And you are campaigning already. How is your team like?
Thank you so much. Inclusion is a critical aspect of any development. My personal assistant doesn't come from the community I belong, and that will be reflected in many public boards that I will have an opportunity as a member of parliament to contribute toward this formation, to ensure that it has the face of Eldama Ravine in it, because Ravine we accept is the face of Kenya, and in that diversity we are proud of it, and we should ensure that in all the institutions that we have that are public, we have that face represented in it.
Okay, Kiptonge.
Okay, given the opportunity, I want to say that inclusivity is, you cannot avoid. You must bring everybody on board in terms of resource distribution, in terms of employment, even if you lobby for jobs. Even the data capture that we are going to do, even if we do that job, we have to make sure that everybody gets a share, and there is no way we are going to run to that. And even the county government, when the county government will be taking opportunities, we will want to see that inclusivity in Eldama Ravine constituency is taken on board. And for my area, whereby we have to appoint the board of management, I think every school within that jurisdiction, they will get a share in the management, and even in the CDF management. The inclusivity has to be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Carol, finally.
I think I had mentioned that earlier, that Ravine being a cosmopolitan town, I'll make sure there is a representation of various groups, various communities in different sectors of running the activities of this constituency. Yeah.
Thank you. I thought that should come out clearly, because there are some of you who may not have captured it well. And I'll give my colleague here, Chepsoi, to take the second last, and then we'll go to the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, SK. Maybe towards the tail end, Mutai, maybe in terms of your policy and towards the tail end, we have a very short time in campaigning period. Do you think the campaign period should have been longer enough, or we should make it shorter for the time frame? You have less than 2 weeks now. Are you prepared? Do you think it's sufficient time?
Yes, I want to say I'm prepared, because I run a program, and you plan your time. That is basic management. You need to manage your time. Already we have been given the deadlines, and we work backwards and draw a plan. So for me, I think that 2 weeks is enough for us to really go around the constituency and sell the agenda. And we are dealing with a very enlightened public. So you don't have to explain much. These days, they know what they want. I want to only say that we want only leaders that can we go outside there, ask for votes, let us do a very mature campaign, and ultimately we will have a leader. The other thing is, going forward is we need people really who would come on board and address our issues. We need people who will make sure that this Eldama Ravine will go to the next level by doing those things really that are alive to what we need to do humanly, so that we attain a constituency that is very vibrant for also some of us. Because we do not want a situation where we are talking about we are championing the things of Eldama Ravine. We are not championing. We are championing the things of the citizens of Eldama Ravine. Given the opportunity, we will do that. So for the time frame, I think I'm okay for myself. We are ready. We are only asking the voters to give. We will do our campaign properly, and we'll finish. Thank you so much.
Time? Do we have time for this? Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we're ready. If elections were conducted tomorrow, my team is ready. Before I came for these interviews, I just finished my 195th meeting across the constituency since I started my campaign. So our team is ready. We are okay, and we are winning this thing by over 30 points. So by even tomorrow, we're ready. So the time frame has been okay. We need to finish this thing so that we start campaigning for the party and the presidential candidate.
Fair enough.
We are already done with it.
Okay, thank you so much for the time frame. We must work and make sure we draw an action plan that shall comply with the timetable. So, and I want to believe, for my case, whereby much of my campaign is on education, on how to get quality leaders, how to choose good manifesto. I want to say the remaining areas that I have not reached, I'll reach them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carol?
To me, since it's been a tradition over years, to me that time frame is enough. We only need to move with our plans. So to me that's okay, and I'm also ready. I'm just waiting for these people to finish up with the UDA nominations. Then we'll meet at the end. I'm in the August.
You're on the August election?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 5 years of serving as an MP, what would you regard to be your legacy within that period of time if you are elected MP? Mutai.
Given the opportunity, in the next 5 years, as I said, the one on the national agenda, the one for the making the government to be accountable on this aspect of trainings, so that we have aligning of the skills and the opportunities. That one I'll make sure that in the next 5 years I will have that bill, so that these parents are saved their investments. The other aspect is I'll make sure that Eldama Ravine citizenship are being served equitably.
Thank
and
you.
that's one of my core values, so that we make sure that things are done inclusively and a teamwork, of course.
Okay, that was within 1 minute, and we'll give each others 1 minute. Kiptonge, what would be your legacy should you be elected within 5 years?
Okay, within 5 years, I must make sure that affordable education through empowerment of day secondary school become a realistic. And by doing so, we are going to increase the number of students joining university with very low fees, or with the fees that they will have used at a very low level. And by doing so, we will have empowered the parents economically. The other issue, it is on farming. We want to see to it that people comply with smart agriculture. I'm a victim of climate change. I used to do flowering of maize. Nowadays, that thing is not there. In 5 years, we want to see to it that all the farmers in all the areas do crops which are compliant, or which are compatible
Yeah.
to their area where they live,
Your 1
including
minute is
the
up.
fruits and all that.
Okay. Getun, your legacy?
My legacy is to have an empowered, youthful population that can be able to fend for itself through locally established industries like Textile Center. Another legacy is 300 young people in 5 years working abroad and contributing towards the economy of Eldama Ravine. And lastly, but not least, is bringing back the glory of Baringo and Eldama Ravine as the bastion of production of national leaders.
Thank you. Caro.
My legacy after 5 years, I would want to have established a tertiary, the first tertiary college in this constituency. I mentioned Kenya Medical Training College, Eldama Ravine. Another legacy that I would like to leave is a boresha maisha state of our community by empowering various groups, including women, youth, people living with disability. Another legacy that I would want to leave, and I want to also be keen so that I don't use it as a campaign tool as the others. I want to leave at least 100-kilometer tarmac road in our constituency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that would mark the last agenda of our debate. And before we give each and every one of us an opportunity to give their closing remarks, we wish to acknowledge our partners, that is CAS Media, or rather CAS, is it? CAS Media Group. We wish to acknowledge your presence today, and also ensuring that we reach as many people as possible, because at the end of the day, not everybody is on media. So those who have listened to this conversation on the radio, we are very grateful for taking your time. Those who have watched on the TV, tunashukuru sana. And for those who have been with us, the 500 plus people who have been sitting on their YouTube, Facebook, and watching this conversation, tunashukuru pia sana, and we hope to get feedback, and we should actually be deploying our reporters on the ground to get to hear the feedback of what people think about this debate. The second partner we wish to acknowledge as well, Tidy's Restaurant, who have given us enough space and an ambient environment to hold this debate for the last almost 4 hours, and we really acknowledge their accommodation here, and When we will be finishing this debate, you will get to see how this restaurant looks like. It is a nice place to be, and we really appreciate your partnership and your hospitality today. Finally, and not least, is the Center for Enhancing Democracy and Good Governance. These are people who assisted us in ensuring that we have questions. And maybe to hear from the audience, what's your take about the questions that we've had today? Anyone? Maswali likuwaje? Yeah, so in partnership with the Center for Enhancing Democracy and Good Governance, it's an NGO, a development partner in Baringo and the North Rift region. They assisted us to refine the questions that we were asking today, and we are very grateful for that. And finally, of course, us as the Baringo News team, the Evelyn Media team as well, we are very grateful about that. Now, without forgetting the aspirants. Without you being here today, we would not have had a debate. So tunashukuru pia sana for showing up and giving us the support that we required. You've given the opportunity to these people for Eldama Ravine to listen to you. And now we go to a 2-minute, or rather 1-minute session for each one of us to give our closing remarks. And we'll start with how we began. Madam Karo.
I want to sincerely take this opportunity to appreciate all of you. I want to appreciate the organizers, Baringo News, CAS TV, all the participants who are here with us. I want to appreciate that you've made us come out and express or sell our agendas to our electorates or our constituents. All I want to tell them, our voters, let's make wise decisions, let's make informed decisions that we will not regret after voting 1 year after our elections. I also want to insist that we do a peaceful election because we need to remain as one community and having in mind that there is life after politics. To my fellow competitors, I wish you the best. The one will come out to kutana finally. Asante sana.
Asante. Kiptonge.
Thank you so much. I have 2 issues as closing remarks to thank everyone and each of you who participated in a role to make this function a success. Number 2, I'll not forget to ask for votes once more. Nataka niwaambie watazamaji wote ambao wananiona, jamini, niko na mpango mzuri kwenu, na hiyo mpango yote itawasaidia. So naomba kura yenu, na wale hawako na sisi, nataka niwatume wenye mnaniona, tafadhali muwafikie wale hawako na sisi kwa sasa kuniombea kura. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Bwana Ngetoi.
I would want to take this opportunity to thank Baringo News, CAS FM and your partners for making this happen. I know it has taken a lot have gone into making this thing happen. I want to sincerely thank you for enhancing democracy and governance. It is only unfortunate that some of us who have had the opportunity to participate in this opted out, meaning they cannot stand to public scrutiny, yet they are seeking public offices. It is very unfortunate, and I would want to urge the Eldama Ravine voters, during the party primaries or whichever other election, let them elect leaders among this panel, because we don't take you for granted. We have spent 4 hours here. Nobody is special. We all have difficult programs, but sitting out of this opportunity to tell the people you seek to represent in the next election what you want to do and interact with them through the many programs is not a mean feat. So those who have opted out, people of Eldama Ravine, choose among all of us. But of course, you know, Emmanuel Ngetunyu represents the next generation, and what next election is better placed to take Eldama Ravine to the next level. Asanteni sana.
All right, thank you. Mutai.
Microphone. Check his microphone, please. Check his microphone. Maybe it has seen better times. You can. Yes.
It's been 4 hours of our conversation, really, so we may forgive the batteries.
Yeah. It has taken a toll on it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I just want to say once more, thank you for those who organized for this nice debate that we have really enlightened our citizens. I just want to say also to the viewers that this would be that member of parliament for Eldama Ravine going forward, and I want to assure Team Mutai that we are winning this thing. By 6 in the morning we'll be there. Lastly is I just want to thank Tonge for being a very good invigilator, and he has done his work. He was a teacher, and I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Tonge. You did very well. It is also good manners for us to do the right thing at the right place. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Well, thank you, and we are very grateful to every one of us here. We had given slots, or rather we made invites to every aspirant, and we wish to acknowledge you whom you've managed to spare your time to be here with us. Caleb Kipchirchir, he gave his, he communicated later that he may be committed elsewhere. I believe he was saying he has a dinner plate, so maybe that was a bit of a commitment. And Daniel Kiprop, Elias Kappa, who has already declared his party to be KANU, and he did not communicate to us. Edwin Kiptis, who is on UDA, he said he may not be participating in this because of reasons that he did not really. We have Halima Abdul, our seat is there. We didn't get any communication from her, and we hope that we get another opportunity to listen to those people. And finally, Mheshimiwa Musa Sirma, he gave his apologies that he would be engaged in other activities. And ours is to give an equal opportunity to every aspirant. That is our key objective, and no one should feel that they have been locked out in these debates. And to even the constituencies that we are heading to, Kabarnet, or rather Baringo Central, Mogotio, Baringo North, Tiati, and Baringo South, we are giving you an assurance that this is a platform that would give you an opportunity to interact with these people, and also to hold yourself accountable as a leader who believes in a cause that you've given yourself to pursue. So ours is to give you an assurance that it's an equal platform for all, and the preparations start as early as even a month before we get there. But of course, nominations are around the corner, so ours will do a rush to try and complete the journey of having debates in all the constituencies. And maybe before we close,
yes,
Bwana Chepsoi, what do you have to say?
Before we close, SK, it's been a privilege and honor to have such a beautiful participant, honorable members and the participant. And in that order, if you allow me, SK, we give a round of applause to Mheshimiwa Karo Talam, all the way from Kabonyon. Please give a round of applause. Thank you very much, Karo. We didn't take it for granted for your time, and thank you so much. You look amazing, and we appreciate your time. All the way from Charaik, at the tail end of border point between Mogotio constituency, is Elijah Kitonge. Please, round of applause, please. He has done the orange, is it the yellow tie? Maybe it's a sign to say probably he aligned to some group of party or his UDA party. Please appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Plus our regards to Cherai community is large, and Tumon, the gentleman from Tumon, around Torongo, tall like the treetops of forest of Lembus. Please, round of applause for Ngetun Emmanuel Ngetun. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate. Thanks for coming. We don't take it for granted. Thank you so much for honoring the invite from these people. This the generation of SK and the team takes a lot for young generation to come up with such an media house. And thanks for the support. Last but not least, Nixon Mutai in sky blue suit. Thank you so much, all the way from Lembus, Tonyok. Please, a round of applause, Jamini. I think there is a lot of good building blocks there. We all need the building blocks, build all this institution of Eldama Ravine, be better. And last but not least, beautiful audience, ladies and gentlemen, please, makofi kwa nyinyi wote. Thank you so much, SK. It's been A pleasure. Thank you so much for building such a brand. It's always a pleasure. We look for the Scarce Media Group to work together and see this brand and see how people get the best chance to interact with their leaders. Thank you so very much and God bless you.
Asante sana. And we can only say thank you and God bless you. I have been your host, Komeneske. Have a good night.